to be issued on his first day in office, some of which I'm told are actually expected to be signed by him immediately after being sworn in at the Capitol Rotunda, but then more as well to be issued later in the day. Now, one of the biggest issues that some of these early orders are going to be focused on, I'm told, is all about immigration. Now, Donald Trump has promised repeatedly throughout his time on the campaign trail to try and round up illegal immigrants in this country and deport them. And that's exactly what some of this early action is going to look like. We're told that you should expect ICE raids through major metropolitan cities, sweeps through cities like Washington, D.C., Chicago, and Denver. And Donald Trump actually addressed some of this in an interview with NBC on Saturday. He said essentially that he wants to begin very early, very quickly with some of these actions in some of these cities, but wouldn't say exactly where. Now, some of the other actions we're told related to immigration as well as Donald Trump and his team are considering a national emergency declaration to try and free up some of the resources from the Pentagon to be sent to the southern border, as well as looking at different asylum restrictions and really rolling back some of what Joe Biden has done, some of which, of course, was him undoing what Donald Trump had done during his first time in office. Now, we did hear from one of Donald Trump's advisors on Saturday, speaking with CNN's Jessica Dean, really walking through some of this action that is expected to be taken. Take a listen.
When you go back to the campaign trail, what President Trump would talk about is that local law enforcement really knows where the criminal illegals are. And so partnering up with local law enforcement to make sure that we go and target the folks who are the really bad actors. We're talking the transnational gang members. We're talking the people that we know that are criminal illegals that are here in this country that, quite frankly, are a danger to society.
Now, you heard Miller tell Jessica there that really one of the big focuses is going to be on targeting illegal immigrants who have committed crimes in this country. That is definitely a big focus, I'm told, for Donald Trump on day one. But not all of those early executive orders are going to be focused on immigration. I'm told there's also going to be some orders focused on trade and the economy as well as energy. So a lot that Donald Trump is planning to do on day one, just short.
And do nothing. Just the opposite. Trump spent the entire campaign lying about Project 2025, but now that he's president, Project 2025 is going to swing into action. Trump also has to do the bidding of billionaire Elon Musk, not to mention Vladimir Putin. And while Trump may be a lazy turd of life, the lizard who learned how to stand on two legs and talk, Stephen Miller, is going to hit the ground running and work very hard to make America white again. Make no mistake about it. The work of undermining our democracy and replacing it with a fascist billionaire oligarchy begins in earnest on Monday, and the mainstream media will do little to oppose it. If anything, the incoming Trump regime is only going to be slowed down by infighting, like the battle between Elon Musk and Steve Bannon, who has clearly fallen out of favor with Trump. In the battle over immigration, Trump sided with Musk, making it clear to Bannon where his priorities are, with money. Trump may have needed Bannon in 2016 when he didn't really have the backing of billionaires, but now he has billionaires standing in line to kiss his tush, and that means Bannon isn't needed anymore. And his cabinet nominations being nothing but a clown show means that Trump isn't interested in governing, he's only interested in abusing power. And that's what's going to get started on Monday. Watch this.
Well, President-elect Donald Trump and his team are planning a slate of executive orders.
Tomorrow will be our worst nightmare come true. Orange Mussolini, Don the Con from Queens, the commander-in-chief, will be sworn in as the 47th and stupidest president of the United States. Now, of course, he won't be sworn in outside because Trump didn't want to be embarrassed by the small crowd size. For the first time in modern presidential politics, Washington, D.C. hotel rooms were still available only days before the inauguration, and Trump knew the media was going to establish the low turnout. So like the true I'm going to take my ball and go home playground brat that he is, Trump moved the venue to indoors, screwing over thousands of his supporters who had already made plans to come to D.C. It's typical Trump. No interest in his supporters, only interested in what's good for him. But it's not only his supporters that he has no interest in. The fact of the matter is, Trump has no interest in governing. The only reason Trump ran for president was to stay out of jail. Now that he's won, he has about as much interest in governing as Taiwan has in joining China. Now, don't get me wrong, he's always interested in wielding power and abusing it. He'll no doubt go after his enemies and sell out the country and get rich off of us, but that's about all he has interested in. I'm going to show video of what Trump has planned once he takes office, but first, you can be sure that it includes something to do with TikTok, the popular phone app that has gone dark. And why is it dark? Because a couple of years ago, Trump ranted about TikTok being a national security issue, which lit a fire under Republicans to pass a law banning it. Now, Trump gets to come in and try and save TikTok. So yes, Trump is pretty much the fireman who goes around starting fires just
after being sworn in.
And all these things CNN is talking about is really only the tip of the iceberg. Remember Lizard Man Stephen Miller? He is already leading the charge to use the fire hose effect and flood the zone with so many outrageous and illegal actions that Democrats can't fight on all fronts. That's why Democrats have to be strategic about where they invest their resources, because we do have to oppose Trump with every action he tries to implement. But what Democrats also need to do is play their ace in the hole. That Trump is easily distracted, is an absolute sucker for flattery, and has an ego the size of New York. For example, prominent Democrats should let slip that if Trump were to end the Ukraine war by making Russia retreat to the original borders, he would be a shoo-in for the Nobel Peace Prize. Then just sit around and watch Trump turn on a dime and go against Putin. It would be a mistake to do nothing but oppose Trump when he is so easy to manipulate. In the first Trump administration, people sat around and fantasized that what Trump was doing was playing 3D chess. Now we know better. And because we do, it's time for Democrats to start playing 3D chess and put the little schoolboy in the corner where he belongs. I'm Anthony Vincent Gallo for Occupy Democrats.
Incoming White House Chief of Staff who has studied what other presidents have done and has charted a course for what Trump should and should not do in the first hour after taking office. Wiles, the first woman to hold the title and to occupy the corner seats in the West Wing, has consulted with nearly every living former White House chief to start staff. She also has strategized with the Senate Majority Leader John Tooney and House Speaker Mike Johnson about how the whole team will work as one. A GOP advisor said, mindful that the cook starts ticking on the Trump's term as soon as he takes the oath. When he meets with Senate Republicans earlier this month at the Capitol, Trump said he